Hello, everyone. My name is Prasanna, and I'm thrilled to be here. We live in a world where stories are all around us. Rich, multifaceted stories. However, when it comes to disabled people, we are relegated to limited stories, rooted in stereotypes that are told to us and about us. I know this firsthand, facing the same stories over and over and over again. You are a problem, a thorn in our side, a blight we are forced to tolerate. The story of disrespect and discrimination. While we are in awe of you, your disability means that you won't be able to keep up. The story of devastating disregard cloaked in dismissive inspiration. There is no place for you here. We don't understand you, and we don't want to. The story of consistent diminishment and denial. As long as we do not change the stories we tell, and the stories being told about us as disabled people, it doesn't matter what the Accessible Canada Act or AOTA says. Accessibility policy promises in legislation and in advocacy won't mean a thing. Now, there are 4 principal barriers to accessibility, but we often focus only on the first 3. Physical barriers, information and communication barriers, and systemic barriers. But very little attention is paid to the 4th barrier, attitudinal barriers, or ableism. And the reality is that if we do not address ableism and create a world where disabled people are acknowledged in the fullness of who we are, accessibility will continue to be out of reach. We need to leverage the power of storytelling to unlock the protections, power, and promise of accessibility legislation. But how exactly do we do that? First, we need to understand. We need to really, really, really understand disability. We need to highlight that disability does not mean brokenness. Our disabilities arise in our interaction with the world around us. My blindness arises because I live in a world that is designed for people who see. There is nothing wrong with me. There is no flaw or defect in me that needs to be fixed. Furthermore, disability is not a niche issue. 27% of the adult population in Canada and the United States is disabled, and 75% of all people will experience disability at some point in their lives. We are here. Don't ignore us. Disability is not a monolithic experience. There's immense diversity in the disability community, and we need to prioritize intersectionality, highlighting the different experiences of disabled people across race, indigeneity, gender, and sexual orientation. I cannot tell you the number of times I have felt excluded as a racialized, queer, disabled person in disability advocacy work or storytelling because of the failure to consider intersectionality, which then replicates the very exclusion that the laws and policies are seeking to address in the first place. To pursue a truly intersectional approach to disability, we must shatter core myths. For instance, having a disability does not denote a lack of intelligence. Accommodations are not always costly. In fact, 50% of all accommodations cost absolutely nothing. Second, accessibility is a design philosophy. It is not a compliance checklist. It's the entry point to disability inclusion, not the end goal. Accessibility is about unlocking the door so disabled people can be in the room and lead, contribute, and drive change. We need to highlight that disability inclusion fuels economic development. According to the TD Economics report, moderately narrowing the labor market gap for disabled people could bring a $50 billion GDP boost, add nearly 450,000 new jobs, and have positive effects on consumer spending. Third, we need to support, empower, and grow our creative sectors. We need to fund storytelling from disabled creatives across film and TV, across music and live theater. In the United States, only 2.1% of all speaking characters in the top 100 grossing films are disabled, and we have yet to fully collect and share comparable data in Canada. And research shows us that most stories featuring disabled characters solely focus on the barriers that these characters face. We need to move beyond the common tropes when telling disabled stories. We are not the barriers we face. We are not here to inspire. We are not here to educate through sharing stories of struggle. My pain alone should not propel your engagement or be the catalyst for progress. Policy promises are unlocked only when our stories are shared in all of their complex glory. And we need to create opportunities for disabled creatives to tell our own stories, which is why I'm so proud to be a part of the Disability Screen Office, which is dedicated to removing accessibility barriers and creating opportunities for disabled creatives through learning programming, production accessibility roles, industry hubs, and best practices guides for accessible productions. Finally, we need to pursue a cohesive approach to this work. We must ensure that storytelling, legislation, policy, creativity, corporate commitments are working together, no longer siloed, but woven into a tapestry of meaningful change. We need to harness creativity to highlight the importance of accessibility in a way that prompts reflection and inspires action from employers, leaders, and organizations across all sectors. At the end of the day, it's beyond time for the world to tell a new story, to demand that institutions and non-disabled people make change. So what stories can they tell? We are getting in your way, and we can no longer do so. The story of acknowledgement and reckoning. Progress must happen through commitments, resourcing, and action. The story of boundless possibility and shared responsibility. Disability is a treasured part of the human experience. The story of meaningful inclusion and belonging. Stories have the power to not just reflect the world in which we live, but imagine the world we seek to build. So as disabled and non-disabled people alike, what stories are we currently telling? And what stories are we going to tell? The world is waiting. Because when, and I say when, we dream of an accessible, inclusive future, once upon a time starts now. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.